This is Meet Your Rep, a candid conversation with the members of the Legislature of the Virgin Islands. Senators are a critical component in every democracy, serving as the voice of the people. Join us for the entire series as we introduce you to all 15 members of the 35th Legislature.
Welcome to Legit TV. I'm Africa Harrigan, and today we are doing an interview for Meet Your Rep. Joining me today is the Vice President of the 35th Legislature, Senator Marvin Blyden. How are you today?
I'm good, Africa, and yourself?
I'm doing very well. So let's begin with your childhood. Now, what elementary school did you go to?
I attended Emmanuel Benjamin Oliver Elementary School.
And what kind of student was you like? Were you a bad boy? Were you mischievous? Were you a bookworm? Tell us about yourself.
Disgusting. I enjoyed school. I always sat in the front because my mind was always going, but I was disgusting. I asked a lot of questions, and I was friends with everyone, but I was a good student. Average, you would say.
So basically you weren't a bookworm, you weren't a bad boy, you were an average student?
Yes.
Okay, so you did your work. And did you participate in any activities?
Of course. I always participated in track, basketball team. And basically, lunchtime, I did a lot of mischievous things. But I was very active in school throughout.
So when you were running on track, because I used to run track as well, but I didn't run until high school. So when you were on track, what was your position?
100 meter.
Oh, okay. And did you get any trophies, any awards?
No.
No? Okay. You did, but you enjoyed being a part of track.
Exactly. Being active. I got awards for basketball, but not for track.
Oh, tell us about your awards for basketball. Were you the MVP player?
Of course. Most rebounds, and my team won many games, so I usually got trophies for those.
Back in those times when you were in elementary school, did you travel and compete against schools on the mainland, or was it just locally?
Locally, local level. No, we didn't travel at that time.
And you said that you were also very inquisitive, which tells me that probably was the introductory to where you are now, because sitting on the Senate floor, you do ask a lot of questions.
Well, when you're disgusted, you want to know everything, and at times, you ask some question you're not supposed to ask, so at times you get in trouble for that, especially when you're younger. But nonetheless, it's always a good thing to ask, because you would never know if you don't ask. So I was that type of individual.
That's fantastic. So after school, what was your after-school life like? So would you just go home and just get ready for school the next day, or would you say that you were out having fun with your friends?
You really want to know? After school, honestly, from a very young age, the 11 or 13 children, so it was a very large family. It was not easy, but at the same time, me being who I am, I always, after school, I went on and sold, I sold newspaper. I washed off cars in a parking lot across the street, and I bagged at Pueblo. So after school, that was my life besides doing other things like sports, etc. But I was always active and busy, trying to do what I need to do to make my parents proud of myself proud. So that's what I did after school. That was my after-school activities.
So you said that you were selling newspapers?
Yeah, I used to sell newspaper.
So would you consider yourself an entrepreneur at that young age?
Looking back, I was an entrepreneur. I had 3 jobs. That was my 3 jobs. And honestly, I always say that from a young age, I always wanted to be a businessman. I always wanted to have my own business, and that's all I wanted to do. So throughout the years, I can recall many businesses that I opened. I still have a business up to this day, but I put it on hold. I have a construction and contracting and consulting license, so I do my thing, So I've always wanted to be a businessman. As you know, I had my own restaurant, etc. So I had my own cleaning company back in the day. I had my own promotion company back in the day. I can go on. So that's why I encourage small businesses. I know the importance of small business owners. It's a type of self-independence, You control your own destiny, So that's what I'm about, basically.
So what inspired you to start different businesses instead of just specializing in one?
Well, wherever there's a need, and I have the expertise in that area, of course you're going to try a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how business come about. If you see a need and someone need it and there's no one to provide it and you can, why not? supply and demand. That's what it's all about, right or wrong. So that's how most people get into business. I remember when I opened my my Mexican restaurant at first, way back when it really did not have no Mexican restaurant here. I know I had an expertise in that area also. So I was one of the first Mexican restaurants in the territory, and I opened a restaurant right across the street in Hibiscus Alley on the waterfront. First local black young Virgin Islander to open a restaurant on the waterfront. And I was a male at that, so I think that was a big accomplishment, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? And now you've seen a lot of Mexican restaurants about the place, but I was one of the first, so I'm proud of that.
It seems to me like you have a serious passion for the food industry, opening up all these strings of restaurants.
Not only food, I have a passion for life, basically, I like I say, I like doing different things. I like perfecting all of them. I like being good at whatever I do, and just to make a contribution and give back. That's what I like to do.
On your campaign flyers, you have Marvin Boy Blue Blyden. Where did Boy Blue come from? Did that come from elementary school, or did you obtain that name a lot older?
That came from the time I was in the hospital, to be honest with you. My mom gave me a story, which I'm not going to repeat, but the nurse gave me that name, Boy Blue, and it stuck with me. I know a couple other Boy Blues, but I'm one of the few Boy Blues that had a name from birth, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, to me, I think that the names from birth are the best ones.
Yeah, and plus
it stays with you until you're 90.
Folks, they not know me as Marvin, to be honest with you. Everyone knew me as Boy Blue. So that's why I put Boy Blue, because many folks were like, who is Marvin Blyden? They didn't know who that was. So when they heard the word Boy Blue, they know it was me. Mm-hmm. And it worked for me, so I kept it. Basically, it worked for me, so I kept it.
I think that's a pretty cool Boy Blue name. Okay, so Senator, from elementary school, you went on and you graduated and you went on to junior high school.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
My junior high school experience was great. Like I said, I was one of the popular students in the school because, like I said, I bagged a Pueblo Soul newspaper, and washed off cars. So when I went to junior high, at that time, believe it or not, I bought my first car underage. I was
in
not
junior
legal.
high school?
I was not legal, but I had a car. My friend used to drive me around, etc. But that was my mind. I was always trying to do something different. And I bought my first car, Mazda 1200. It was like a toy to me. Why I say that? I bought it and I fixed it. I did all the repairs on it. Put in a stereo, tinted out, rebuild an engine, etc., etc. And I learned all of that from my friends in Thomasville. I had a guy named Quinn. He was real good with mechanics. I used to be around him, and he taught me everything I knew about engine, etc. So, like I said, I wanted to do everything, and I want to be good at everything. So, he taught me a lot, and I played on the basketball team also.
Before you get to the basketball team, how long did it take you to rebuild your car?
It didn't take long. To be honest with you, I would say like 6 months in terms of the engine, in respect to the transmission, getting the rims, having my boy paint it for me, like 6 months. It didn't take long. Put in a stereo set myself, tint it out, deal with the interior. But
I think this is quite amusing.
it didn't take long, but back then, like I say, we didn't have all these iPads and all these gadgets. That was our gadgets. We basically fixed things, because we didn't have what they have now. So it kept us active, it kept us occupied, and it kept us busy. And it kept us, to me, out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? So I would never trade what I learned back then to what our kids are doing now, because, to me, it even makes you think even more and solve situations, solve problems. You know what I'm saying? You really have to understand and get it right, You don't have the time to be doing all the other stuff they're doing right now. So it's good to be active in terms of using your hands for something that can make things, and advance things and improve, situations. So I really value those experiences and those times and those memories, to be honest with you.
I really do admire how you put your hands to work. You were a mechanic. You were selling newspapers. Excuse me. You were selling newspapers. You were also bagging bags. Would you say that the kids of today, being that we're in a more technologically prone world, and everyone's glued to their iPads or their smart TVs or even their iPhones if they have one or their cell phones. Would you say that kids of the world of today are missing out on all of those hands-on experiences?
Definitely they are. I mean, they're having other experiences in terms of knowledge, but in terms of just the basics, they are. And many times, I usually told my own kids, and I made sure that they had those experiences in terms of making sure they were in sports, making sure that every time I was doing a yard or fixing something, they had to be there with me to see and understand what it's about. Because despite all of the advantages of technology, if you can do most of these things yourself, you're still ahead of the game. So no matter what technology come into play now, I'm still ahead of the game because I have a home, I have a house. There's nothing I cannot do in my own home. I don't have to call anyone to do anything. So that's why I try to get to my kids' head, learn to do everything for yourself. Because once you can do that, you're empowered. Of course, if you want someone to help you or do it for you, fine. That's your opinion. That's your option. But if you can do it for yourself, there's no other feeling like that. You won't be stressing. You don't have to wait for anyone to come and do it for you, and on and on. So, of course, it's a different experience, and it's a different mindset, in my opinion, because gadgets are great. You know what I'm saying? It is. But in terms of the hands-on and really the basics, to me, is always necessary, in my opinion.
I do find that in other educational, like outside of the United States, they actually do a lot more hands-on stuff where kids are learning a trade, electricity, plumbing. Ladies are learning how to do hair and how to run a house and things like that. But in America, we mostly focus on book sense and book knowledge. So I think that with a mix of experiences like your experiences combined with modern day technology, that would put all of our students ahead. What are your thoughts?
And you're correct. It's a no-brainer for me because with the book sense and common sense, because you cannot basically go to school for common sense. That's just something you have to be born with and or adapt to based on your experiences throughout life. You see what I'm saying? And it gives you that common sense. Like, no, this is the way we need to do it. But yet, with both skills combined, I mean, it's a recipe for success. You can't fail no matter what you do because you understand it and you can apply it. So it makes sense to me. And my grandkids and all, I'm going to assure that and make sure that I do my part in terms of making sure they have the basic common sense to life, to situations. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, it's empowering when you can do certain things for yourself. You don't have to depend. For instance, from a young age, I have 8 sisters, 4 brothers. My mom was a seamstress. She was a cook. And I learned to cook from a young age. And up to this day, I could cook anything. Anything. You know what I'm saying? I can cook you a 5-course meal, which is, of course, tastes well, tastes good. So the point is, I taught all my sons to cook. All my kids know how to cook from young. They used to cook me breakfast in bed for my birthday, cook me dinner for my birthday, because I taught them at a young age. So you don't have to depend on anyone to cook for you, etc. So at times people feel away in terms of, well, growing up, you aren't supposed to cook because you're a guy, but I never had them issues. I enjoyed cooking. I tell everybody I cook. You know what I mean? It's not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. Sew, I could sew. All my sisters sewed. My mom was a seamstress. So, of course, naturally I sewed. You know what I'm saying? I ironed my own clothes. I did a lot of stuff that guys were not supposed to be doing back then, but I never pay anyone any mind. And I always tell my kids, don't pay anyone any mind. If you could do it, you do it. You don't care what no one says. That's who you are, so.
Now, with all this talk about all these meals that you can cook, what would you...
You and this meat. You like to eat, man.
What would you say is your best meal?
You'll find it strange, but honestly, my best meal is Mexican food,
To cook? Okay.
Yeah, I love Mexican food. I love cooking, oxtail. I love cooking, period. I don't like to eat a lot, but I love to cook. But I love Mexican food because it's different, it's simple, it's unique, it's fulfilling, it's delicious. But most people don't like Mexican food. But when I cook Mexican food for folks and they sample it, they're like, wow, that's good. I never tried that before. So you gotta know what you're doing. So I enjoy doing that, to be honest with you. I love local food, of course. I was just in the afternoon of greens, and I did stew chicken. I've won several years in a row. You know, I do pita rice. I go in competition. I go in many competition. I love Mexican food. I love local food, but I like doing Mexican food, to be honest.
I do remember seeing you and your wife competing in the chili cook-off.
Correct.
Yeah, so you're everywhere when it comes to food competitions.
Like I said, I love to cook, you know, and I love competing. I'm a competitor, you know, and I love to win. That's my drive. That's what drives me. I love competing. I love doing different things, you know, and having different experiences. And I think that's what life is about. Period. Life can't be boring. It can't be still. You got to do different things, and that's who I am.
When you were in junior high school, was it then that the decision or the idea of becoming a senator was birthed?
No, never. I never wanted to be a senator. I never wanted to be in politics. I never wanted to be a government employee, to be honest with you. I stumbled upon that. I can give you the story, but no, I didn't want to have nothing to do with politics, honestly. How I became a senator is after I moved from the private sector and started to work in the public sector, the housing manager with the housing authority. Many times I used to get calls from senator's office and etc. and like with complaints, and I'm like, listen, no, Marvin Blyden do not throw people out. Marvin Blyden bends over backward to work with everybody and the mother. And if you hear somebody have an issue with Marvin Blyden, they're wrong. So if you have a problem, check me. You know, and after I explain and break it down for them, they all agree with me every time, 100%, whether they're senators or not. So it came a point where when they go to the Senate for me, they're like, nah, not Blyden. So I realized, you know what, people need to have a basic understanding of what's going on in that space. And at the same time, too, I found myself helping other senators campaign who align with my ideas and my thoughts and my suggestions and opinions. And I did that for several years. And I came a point where they're like, but Blyden, you always in the campaign train helping somebody. We don't want to, like, are you crazy? Not me. I want to stay in the background. You know, I don't want to be up front because I hate public speaking. Trust me, I hated public speaking because from young I had a list tongue, tight tongue, they call it. So I was scared to speak, you know, many times. So anyway, to make a long story short, my colleagues, which are my fellow employees and my tenants, went, got the petition, signed it, got all the signatures, and then I signed it afterward. Like really forced me to do this, but I did, and I came in number one, and I've been here ever since. But they understood what my mindset was at, what my heart was at, what I did for them. Because I worked for the Housing Authority, but many times when it comes to recertify or common issues, I always went above and beyond to solve the problems, even if it wasn't my so-called job. Or many times whether it was a hard policy, I would go against hard policy because they made sense. And hard to change policies, and several times on my behalf, they changed the policy based on the situations. So we're like, you know what, I could probably do that thing for real. You know, so that's how I ended up here. I didn't want to be a senator, but I came here based on my experiences and based on what people saw in me before I saw in myself, that, you know, you need to be there because you really do work on our behalf. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was my job to do certain things, I still went against the grain and got in trouble at times. But at the end of the day, it was the right thing to do. And that's what my mom always told me, boy blue, no matter what, if it's the right thing to do, do it. God bless you. She always told me that, and I always remember that. So I always try to do the right thing. Before I come on this floor, I always pray before I come on the floor and ask him to guide me. And I stand by my decisions, and I could sleep at night with no issues. Yeah.
Considering where you are now, what advice or message do you have for your junior high school self?
Well, honestly, for my junior high school self, I was always a young man with a lot of confidence, you know. I always, like I say, based on my life experience, I would say the only flaw I believe I had was my speaking, my public speaking. I was shy in some ways, even I was confident. So I would say, do not let any faults or disability or issues you have define who you are, and dream and think as big as you can, no matter what your circumstance or position is at that time, and have faith. You know, have faith, which I always did, but have faith like a mustard seed and you'll be fine. You can accomplish anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you graduated from junior high school and you went on to high school. What high school did you go to?
Race Country, Wales. Race Country, Wales. Race Country.
I know the audience can't see this, but we have staffers like going like, woo
Well,
woo.
guess what? I'm from Nana and Nana, man. You know, my parents were born was from Savannah, but they moved to Nana, and only country I knew. So I had to go to Ivana Idoaken High School, Race Country. Then I went to EBO too. I was in the country. PCB too. I was in the country. So
Right.
I had no choice. I was living right in Nana, right next to the school. So that's why I went, Race Country. Yeah.
So how was your experience in high school? Like, were you active? Were you just into your books, or were you still drumming up more businesses?
I was never into books, ever. In my toy, I had my car. By the time I got to Ivana Idoaken High School and I got my license, it used to be problems. I used to go up to school late in my car and Papa's blasting the music, getting in trouble, you know, leaving the campus when I'm not supposed to, you know, but I got by, you know. I didn't fail, I got by, but at the same time, I could have done much better. And I got myself in trouble my senior year. So my senior year, when I got myself in trouble, I had to leave the island. I'm not going to say what it is, but I left the island. And that's the best thing ever happened to me, to be honest with you, because, like I said, I got by. I was an average student. But the first time I actually took up a book in 12th grade. And my average was at 91. Ever actually took up a book and study. I just knew the work. I went and took my test, passed my classes, but I didn't do good. I didn't do great like I should have, like I said, to apply myself like I should have. But the first time I had no friends, I didn't know nobody up there, so I had no choice but to study and, you know, do what I had to do. And that's the best thing that happened to me. It exposed me to a lot of things. It opened my eyes to different experiences, to see what my fellow students are doing in the United States and the opportunity they have and how they were squandering it a lot. And I just look at myself, wow, I'm not going to squander this opportunity, you know. So I really was glad that happened to me, that experience, because I don't know where I would have been right now, you know. But nonetheless, I enjoyed my high school time, you know, here and abroad. I wouldn't trade it.
Did you go to prom, and did you have a prom date?
Believe it or not, I didn't go to no prom. I was busy working. I didn't go to no prom.
Were you working your own business, or were you working a job?
No, I was working a job because that was in the United States. That wasn't here. I was working a job, and I had invitations. Don't get it twisted, but I didn't go. I was like, nah, I good. I got to work. I mean, looking back now, I wish I did, because that's memories you can never get back.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? But at the same time, for me, it wasn't important. It was just a prom, a dance, you know? But I didn't see the bigger picture in terms of the memories, you know? The reunion, you could go back and I went prom with this person, what have you. But I wasn't into them thing, you know? I was about my money. I was about business. I was about doing what I got to get done to survive, you know? That's what I was about at that time, at that young age, you know? So I did what I had to do. And I regret it.
Throughout this interview, you often reference your mother.
Yeah.
What is some of the best advice that your mother gave you? Like, what kept you throughout life?
Well, my mom, rest her soul, she always told me, but she didn't know better, work hard, you know, respect your elders, you know, go to church, and basically support your siblings, you know. And she always told me, don't get nobody pregnant. I'm bring no baby in the house, you know. But honestly, my mom, she was the most caring, loving, giving person I know. I think that's where I get my giving from. As you know, I'm always trying to give back. I'm always looking out for others before myself. That was my mom, you know. She was a very caring person. She was a Sunday school teacher. I remember her. Everyone still tell me about my mom being a teacher. She was a hard worker, you know.
Of course, I can
Yeah.
tell. I mean, you're
She was a hard
running
worker.
businesses from time you're 12.
Yeah, she was a hard worker, and she had 13 of us. 13, you know, and she did a good job.
So after high school, what was next for you? What was your next step?
Business school.
Business school.
Yeah, I went business school and junior college, but I was like, college is not for me. I want to be a businessman. I was focused. I bought magazines about businesses, being an entrepreneur. Um, and I read a lot of stories of individuals who are billionaires, who went to college and dropped out and opened their own business. So that I wanted to be that guy. So I did go to business school. I finished business school, Dickinson Business School. And, while I was up there, I tried a couple businesses up there. They were not successful, but I came back home and I opened several businesses that have been successful, and I instilled it in my children, and they are doing the same thing also. Right now, we have an investment company, my family. So what we did, we opened an investment company, and what we do, AIG, investment, we do investment as a family. And I'm teaching them, how to actually go about in a space in terms of trading, etc., the stock market. And I think more families need to do that because we teach our kids about going to school, working for the man, retiring. What about working for yourself? What about investing? Other races do that. You see the children in the stores. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They teach them from young money management, about
Financial
credit
literacy.
scores, correct. And that's what I do in my family with all of my cousins, my nephews. We have a big investment firm, and we're making moves. We're investing, we're doing things. And I think that's the wave of the future. Because you can be in a house and working globally. It's an international market. You see what I'm saying? So that's the way I see life. I've seen it that way from years ago, but not on that level. You know what I'm saying?
And I also feel like the structure of businesses is changing in terms of not necessarily having an office or a place or an edifice to go to, but actually just working from home.
You can work from the beach.
Making millions.
You can work from the beach on your computer and make millions. When most folks are sleeping, I know folks are up in the foreign market, making them serious money.
Absolutely.
So when we all sleeping, a lot of folks, and a lot of them live in St. John, they're on the computer making money. A lot of folks I know, between 5 p.m., 3, 4 a.m., that's where you make the most money.
Yes.
During those hours and we are sleeping. So there's a lot out there in terms of businesses that folks can do. And if they understand that space, they can do well off. But you have to understand what you're dealing with. Yeah.
Sounds fantastic. So the day came, you ran for the Senate. After all you accomplished throughout your years from elementary to junior high to high school and afterwards, what did victory feel like when you first found out you will be a senator of the Virgin Islands?
It was scary in some ways. It was gratifying. It was humbling. It was gratefulness. It was appreciation. Because honestly, when I ran the first time in 2012, I lost. The first time I ran, I lost. And the reason why I lost because I failed myself because I was scared. Like I said, I hated public speaking. I would freeze. Every time I had to go to a debate, I would like, oh my God. I'm ready, everything is in my mind. I'm ready to go. Your boy, you ready? And then when I tell oh my God. I freeze, blank out. Fright, stage fright. You know stage fright? I blank out. I'm like, man, what's wrong with me? So the first time I didn't win. I didn't win at all. And plus a lot of folks say, well, you are already in, so we didn't vote for you. So I had to re-educate my people, basically focus on myself, and do what I had to do. But I had a big party on the beach when I lost. I actually threw a party when I lost, believe it or not, because I was so grateful to those individuals who believed in me. You see what I'm saying? More than I believed in myself. So you have to show appreciation to your constituents and to those that you're surrounded by. You see what I'm saying? To me, that's important. And that has always been my motto. I'm going to appreciate individuals, show them love, you know what I'm saying, and do what I got to do on their behalf because without them, there is no me. And I work for them. And I understand my mission and my goal and why I'm here. You cannot forget why you're here. I understand why I'm here because of them. Without them, I would not be here. So that's I felt good. Gratefulness, humbleness. That's how I felt.
To a young person who's now watching this interview, because, we do have some mothers and grandmothers, like my grandmother and my mother, who would actually have the children watching programs like this. What advice would you have for them if they wanted to pursue a career as a senator?
What advice I would have for them? Make sure your intentions are right. Make sure your your mission aligns with what the job entails. What I mean by that? Don't come to be a senator for the sake of being a senator and being in thing and being on TV and people like, yeah, that's a senator. Be a senator because you really and truly want to make a difference in people's lives. And before you get here, do that work. So when you want to get here, you can say, well, this is what I've been doing. I just want to do it on a larger scale, and that's what I did. I did a lot in terms of giving back, in terms of assisting, in terms of helping, in terms of going above and beyond, in terms of changing policies before I got here. So when I ran, I said I just want to, when I spoke, I always spoke from experience, what I've been doing. I didn't say what I want to do this year. I have been doing this. I want to do it on a bigger scale. You see what I'm saying? And that's, I would encourage anyone, if you want to run for public office, like especially for Senate or to be a senator, do the work before you get here. You know what I'm saying? Do the work. Show what you're made of, what you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? What you're capable of. So you don't have to do too much encouraging. Like, I've been there, done that. So I think that would be my advice to anyone who wants to run for public office.
Thank you, Senator, for joining me on Meet Your Rep.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciated the interview, and yeah, it made me cry at times, but I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Everyone always wants to cry when they have to talk about their mom, trust me.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Meet Your Rep. I'm Africa Harrigan for Legit TV.